Have you ever looked at a caveman drawing on a cave wall and thought, what did this guy actually do all day? I mean, did he just grunt, chase mammoths, and complain about the lack of Wi-Fi? Today, we're going to take a step back, way back, tens of thousands of years, and peek into the mysterious, misunderstood, and surprisingly complex lives of our prehistoric ancestors, the cavemen. 1. Morning routine. No alarm clocks, just sun and hunger. A caveman didn't wake up to a smartphone. No buzzing notifications, his alarm clock, the rising sun, and maybe a growling stomach. The day likely started with stretching, yawning, and checking if a saber-toothed tiger had wandered into camp overnight. Survival was top priority, so the first thing they did, forage or hunt. No fridge, no Uber Eats, just your wits, a spear, and some serious motivation. 2. Gathering and hunting. Nature's grocery store most of the day revolved around finding food. Men often hunted in group, tracking animals, setting traps, and throwing spears. It was dangerous, exhausting, and sometimes not even successful. Meanwhile, women were incredibly skilled at gathering, identifying edible plants, fruits, nuts, and herbs. In fact, recent studies show that gathering provided the majority of daily calories. So yes, while the hunters got the glory, the gatherers kept everyone alive. 3. Community and family life, more than just grunts. Contrary to popular belief, cavemen weren't just loners in loincloths. They lived in tight-knit communities, they raised children, told stories, cared for the sick, and mourned the dead. These people had deep emotional bonds, some even wore jewelry made from shells and bones, prehistoric bling, if you will. They likely laughed, played, argued, and maybe even sang. We know they made music instruments, like flutes from animal bones. So don't be surprised if ancient Fred and Wilma had their own jam sessions by the fire. 4. Art and innovation. The first creatives ever seen cave paintings. That wasn't just ancient graffiti. It was storytelling, culture, maybe even early spirituality. These artists captured wild animals, mysterious symbols, and even their own handprints. They also invented tools, from stone axes to needles made of bone. Yes, they sewed clothes. Cavemen weren't just survivors. They were inventors, creators, and thinkers. 5. Evening time. Fire, stories, and stars. After a long day, they gathered around the fire, the heart of their home. Fire meant warmth, protection, and a place to connect. They may have shared stories, tales of brave hunts, spirits of nature, or legends of ancestors. Cavemen lived in a world where survival wasn't a choice. It was a necessity. Every single day began with the urgent need to secure food, water, and safety. There were no supermarkets, no houses with locks, no weather apps warning about storms. Their instinct, sharpened by experience and passed down knowledge, was their only guide. From the moment the sun rose, life became a strategic mission. Tracking animal movements, identifying fresh water sources, watching for predators, and constantly being aware of the terrain. Hunger was not a mild inconvenience, it was a life-threatening challenge that demanded physical endurance and mental sharpness. A missed hunt could mean starvation. A wrong step could mean injury, which in their world could easily be fatal. Even gathering plants required expertise, knowing which berries were edible, which roots were poisonous, and how to avoid thorns, insects, or hidden dangers. Every decision had consequences, and there was no margin for error. Beyond food, shelter had to be found or built. Caves provided natural protection, but weren't always available or safe. Temporary huts or hide, covered shelters had to be crafted with the resources at hand. Fire, a revolutionary tool, had to be maintained. Starting it from scratch was no easy feat. Without it, warmth, cooked food, and protection from animals were compromised. Even rest wasn't guaranteed. Someone always needed to keep watch. Cavemen had to constantly think about defense, against wild animals, rival tribes, or environmental threats like floods and harsh weather. Their entire existence revolved around staying alive, one day at a time. But they didn't just react. They planned, observed patterns, and developed early strategies. Their survival wasn't just brute strength. It was also intelligence, teamwork, and adaptability honed through trial, error, and relentless effort. Cavemen did not live alone in isolated caves, grunting to themselves. They were part of small, tightly bonded groups that functioned as early communities. These groups were often made up of extended family members or small tribes that shared responsibilities, resources, and emotional connections. Cooperation was key to survival. One person alone could not hunt large animals, raise children, or defend against predators. Group living provided safety in numbers and allowed for the division of labor. Some hunted, others gathered, while elders might pass down knowledge or help care for children. These early humans relied on trust and communication, even if their language was basic or still developing. Through gestures, facial expressions, and sounds, they shared plans, warned of danger, and expressed emotions. Over time, these forms of communication likely became more complex, laying the groundwork for language and culture. Living together also helped strengthen social bonds. Food was often shared communally, especially after a successful hunt. This sharing wasn't just practical. It helped create loyalty and connection within the group. There was likely a sense of belonging, even identity, rooted in their tribe or clan. Disputes may have occurred, but resolving them was crucial, since banishment or isolation could be deadly. Emotional support was just as important as physical protection. When someone was injured or sick, others would tend to them. When children were born, they were raised not just by the parents, but by the whole group. Evidence from ancient burial sites shows that even the dead were honored or remembered, suggesting a deep sense of relationship and memory. Through these shared experiences, cavemen built the foundation of human society: collaboration, care, responsibility, and the beginnings of culture that would eventually evolve into complex civilizations. In the daily life of cavemen, the division of labor between hunting and gathering was not only practical but essential for the survival of the group. While popular images often highlight men with spears chasing down giant beasts, this was just one side of the story. Hunting was a high-risk, high-reward activity. It required strength, planning, cooperation, and often involved long treks and dangerous encounters with large animals. A successful hunt could feed the group for days, but it wasn't guaranteed. Many hunts ended in failure, and the energy spent could outweigh the return. Because of this uncertainty, the role of women as gatherers became equally, if not more, critical. Women, and sometimes children, scouted and collected a wide variety of foods: fruits, nuts, seeds, roots, insects, and medicinal herbs. This role required deep knowledge of the environment, which plants were edible, which ones were poisonous, and what seasons brought which foods. They didn't just pick randomly. They were skilled observers of nature, recognizing patterns and adapting to the rhythms of the land. The majority of the group's daily calories likely came from gathered foods, making gathering a steady and reliable source of nourishment. This work was done with baskets, digging sticks, and stone tools, often while carrying or tending to young children. It was physically demanding and mentally engaging. The balance between hunting and gathering created a natural system of cooperation and mutual reliance. Neither role was superior. Each required intelligence, effort, and skill. Both hunters and gatherers contributed equally to the survival and well-being of the group. The daily efforts of both men and women ensured that food was on hand, knowledge was shared, and the group could thrive in the often harsh and unpredictable environment of the prehistoric world. Cavemen were not just rugged survivors. They were surprisingly creative and inventive thinkers. One of the clearest signs of this is the art they left behind. In caves across Europe, Africa, and Asia, ancient paintings and carvings reveal a rich inner world. They painted animals, hunting scenes, handprints, and symbolic shapes using natural pigments made from crushed rocks, charcoal, and minerals. These images weren't randomly placed. They were often deep inside caves, suggesting they held meaning beyond decoration. They may have been used in rituals, for storytelling, or as a way to teach others about the world around them. This shows a deep sense of imagination, memory, and purpose. But creativity wasn't limited to art. Cavemen were constantly solving problems using the tools and materials around them. They shaped stones into blades, scrapers, and arrowheads, using specific techniques that required both skill and foresight. They created tools for hunting, cutting meat, scraping hides, and crafting other tools. Over time, their tools became more refined, with evidence of innovation being passed down through generations. They also learned to make fire, likely by striking stones or rubbing sticks together. This single invention transformed their lives, allowing them to cook food, stay warm, and keep predators at bay. They used bones, wood, and sinew to create more specialized tools, and even sewed animal hides together using bone needles and natural threads. Some groups developed early forms of jewelry, such as necklaces made from animal teeth, shells, or carved stones. These personal adornments suggest not only self-awareness but also a desire to express identity or status within a group. The ability to imagine, to create, and to innovate allowed early humans to adapt to different environments and pass on knowledge, giving them a crucial advantage in the struggle for survival. After a long day of hunting, gathering, and staying alert to the dangers of the wild, evenings for cavemen offered a rare sense of calm and connection. As the sun set and darkness fell, fire became the center of their world. It wasn't just for warmth or cooking. It created a safe zone, a circle of light in an otherwise threatening night. Around the fire, groups would gather, sharing food, stories, and experiences. These moments built a strong sense of community and tradition. Stories likely passed down from elders helped teach lessons, explain natural events, or honor ancestors and heroes. Without written language, storytelling was a powerful tool for preserving knowledge and shaping cultural identity. Evenings were also a time for bonding. Parents would care for children, teaching them skills through play or observation. The older members of the group might share memories or wisdom, while others made repairs to tools, sharpened weapons, or prepared for the next day. Music and rhythm may have played a role too. Archaeological finds include primitive flutes made from bird bones and hollow sticks, suggesting that music and perhaps even dance were part of their social lives. These creative activities helped strengthen emotional connections and offered a form of expression beyond daily survival. Looking up at the stars, they may have wondered about the patterns in the sky or felt awe at the vastness above them. With no artificial light to interfere, the night sky would have been brilliantly clear, offering both inspiration and mystery. These quiet hours gave space for reflection, imagination, and emotional connection within the group. The firelight, the rhythm of shared stories, and the comfort of being together brought meaning to their lives and helped maintain unity and resilience in a world full of uncertainty and challenge.